Hey guys, Andrew, Jonathan, and Figs here with Team Universe C. We're going to be taking a look at some of the new decks coming out in Set 13. Just kind of giving you an idea of like a base deck list to build off of, and just some tips and tricks or some things to, be aware of when playing the leader, and our general ideas of like cards that may be good and synergies that may make sense for this leader when it comes to building it. So yeah.
Yeah, so let's start with the leader. The first thing that it does in Awaken and Unawaken, it reduces the cost of all mono blue Brigade cards in the combo area by one. So without this effect, the deck will be completely unplayable because every card, basically every combo card in the deck is like 1 mana to combo. So that's really important for this deck to be able to function. And you have the activate battle. This is once per turn. You can combo one mono blue card from your energy, and then replace the energy tap card. And then the awaken. It's if you have the same general awakening, where if you're 3 or less life, or you have a 4 mana unison, you can draw two and untap one energy. And then in his awaken side, I'm sorry, auto on the first attack. This is really important when you're playing this leader, because if you negate, you can still use it, but you have to have the energy for it. So then on the first attack, you pay one blue, and untap four up to four mono blue energy, and put it to active mode. You have to discard one card from your hand to activate that effect, and also you can now activate counter plays for the rest of the turn after you activate that effect. Uh, it doesn't really affect the counterplay because you're mostly going to use it for combo, but it's a restriction you have to be mindful of.
Yeah. So I think Figs, what do you think about this leader at first glance?
Honestly, at first glance, it seems pretty insane. I mean, you're being able to, use all of your Bojack cards with a reduced cost of combo. So, I mean, ideally, when you're looking at the cards, you're like, all right, well, they're all one energy combo cards. Then they have like additional effects where you like pay additional energy, and you can put some of them into play. So having that reduction is just, I mean, it makes them literally free, which obviously is, really good. Which
Mhm.
means that you're only pretty much just paying the energy cost to put them into play, if they have one. For me, I feel like that's the first thing that really just stands out. Also, the backside, of course, untapping 4 energy is so good.
Yeah.
Obviously, we see with Soul Striker, just being able to get access to energy during your own turn to going into your opponent's turn is obviously strong, but getting access to 4 energy,
Yeah,
pretty good.
I mean, it
it definitely.
feels to me like a built-in Zeno button, right? So you're paying
Yeah,
Yeah,
one
yeah,
absolutely.
energy instead of zero, but basically the same effect because you're discarding a card to untap your energy, which I think is
right.
really
And then
nice.
you tap three energy at some point at that point, and it's the
Yeah.
same effect basically.
Yeah. So yeah, no, and another thing like bringing the stuff into play for free, it kind of gives me like a King Piccolo-esque feel, right? He's not drawing
Right.
cards
Absolutely,
per
yeah.
se, but he has a strong awakening, and he's playing a lot of battle cards off of his effects, right?
Hmm.
With a few more steps, but I think that's kind of like the general direction that they were bringing this deck in.
And it's unique that all the effects come into play after combo, because combo is such a like you don't know what's gonna happen or how I'm gonna combo. So I like that aspect of it. Like it's not like negate where the attack completely stops. In combo steps, like there's a lot of things that could happen, and then a lot of things that you can sneak in combo step. If you know that's the last attack, you can combo in more cards, or you can combo a little bit less, a little bit more. I really like that about this mechanic.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. The way that they designed this deck, I played it quite a few times already, and just kind of like tweaked things that I think I liked or didn't like, to kind of come to like a deck list like this. But it still definitely needs improvement. I think one thing to note with this leader that I found a few things is one, you don't see that many cards on the front side, so it kind of like Sin Shenron drew cards when he attacked, but he didn't find the unison, and this deck can also struggle sometimes to find the unison. So trying to get some cycling into the deck, some digging to make sure that your turn 4 you're always awakening, is a big deal. And you
Hmm.
do want some type of mana sync. And that shouldn't necessarily mana sync, but like let's say you want to combo something off. If you haven't used that energy, if you're comboing from the energy, then you're kind of missing out, right? Because the energy comes
Right.
in rest mode. So you want like at least a decent amount of one mana plays. Even if it's just like UI Kamehameha or Intersecting Fates or something like that, where you're using that
Yeah.
energy prior to
Hmm.
comboing. All right. And yeah, Jonathan, take us through the unison
All
here
right.
and your thoughts on it.
So yeah, this is the only main of Self Awakening in the deck, which is you need a 4 mana unison. At the moment, there's only two. Is this one, and there is the Trunks. Is it?
Gotenks.
Go thanks.
Gotenks. Yeah,
Yeah.
Gotenks. Either or works fine, but this one is seems like intended for this leader a little bit because it's a blocker. It's a double strike. When it comes into play, it's just gonna swing at the opponent, and if you plus it or plus 0, it's gonna untap. It's gonna be a blocker, and you also untap an energy, which is already the energy that you need for the leader's effect. So it's already like covering up that maintenance cost that you need to have the untap energy for that, and it's also gonna also for -1. The -1 is quite good actually. Like it could stop like an opponent's turn like on the tracks because it's every time that the opponent attacks with a battle card, you get to send one battle card from the field to the deck. It could be the same card that is attacking. It could be another one. So it's just like it stifles the opponent's turn really hard, and it doesn't have mana restrictions or anything at all. And of course, it draws a card when you do the -0, which is you don't draw with the leader. Which so having a card draw that is every turn, it's allows you to keep up with every other deck, which is necessary.
Yeah. I think this is probably one of the strongest blue cards coming out of the set. This one and
Oh yeah.
the Galactic Buster. It's definitely going to see play probably in other leaders, and for this deck specifically, it's really nice. One thing I have noted that I like about this one, as opposed to like Meki Kabura and Sin Shenron, is that if you're awakened pre-4, this is still a great turn 4 play because it doesn't
Right.
tap you out, and then you're able to use your leader effect, right? So the
Mm-hmm.
fact that it just comes down basically for 3 is just huge for this deck. And
Absolutely,
it
yeah.
doesn't need to +1 or anything. It's hard enough to get rid of. And if you have a second copy in hand and they get rid of this, I mean, it's just so much value for you because you're just
Yeah.
getting way ahead. Being able to just drop this on your turn, untap all your energy on your opponent's turn, play a bunch of stuff on their turn, like it leads to a play pattern where it's just hard for your opponent to catch up once you get to turn 4 and beyond because you're just overwhelming them with cards.
And this is not an easy unison to get rid of. It's just 20k. It's not that easy to get rid
I
of.
agree. Yeah, it's very good. Got that secret rare like protection. Like it's just really good at keeping you alive and turning the corner, which is really nice. Exactly what blue needs. Then we have a Galactic Buster. So this one can be used outside of Bojack, but it definitely synergizes the most with Bojack. Basically, if your leader is Bojack or a mono blue card, so any mono blue leader, you choose a mono blue battle card with a combo cost of 1 in your energy, so that's kind of the restriction. It doesn't work with too many other cards. And then you can draw a card and use the chosen card in a combo. And if it's your opponent's turn and you use a combo with the skill, you place this energy from your dropper, so it'll replace the card that you comboed from the energy. And then at the end of the battle, so you can use this energy during the battle, you switch that energy to rest mode. The only thing I don't know, and someone can answer this, I'm sure, is whether you can pay costs for your autos before you have to rest that energy. So I think you can stack your effects, but I don't know since
Yeah.
this isn't in auto, but maybe it is in auto, the second part of it. Who knows? So we'll have to see on that.
Yeah.
But
I assume you'd be able to stack your triggers and decide what's going to resolve first.
yeah, I think that's my
I mean,
general thing as well. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I assume that that's what it was intended for, just because of the fact that they allowed it to happen at the end of the battle. So
Right.
I'm assuming that that would probably be their way of saying, all right, well, if you have something to use, like use it then, and then energy gets tapped. If you don't, like you don't get free energy for the rest of the turn. You have to use it during that battle.
Yeah. And this leader, I mean, yeah, it just gives you another leader effect, pretty
Yeah.
much, is
Exactly.
what
It's
it
an
comes down
excellent
to.
card and just a little. Yeah.
And there's obviously a lot of cards that you combo with. I mean, pretty much anything that you were comboing off the energy now is just gonna get that much more efficient. And this one is a cycle card, which is kind of nice, because you want to be cycling a lot with this deck. You want to just, you're not really building a big hand, but you're going through your deck quickly, so you're seeing the things that you need to see on time. So it's a really good card for that reason. Um, and then yeah, intersecting fates and Borgos and UI Kamehameha. Uh, just ways of using your energy on your turn before you combo that card off, either on their turn. I mean, you don't have to combo offensively. You don't even have to attack with this leader on your turn if you don't want to. So there's a lot of positive things that you can do, but you do want to be utilizing your energy before you combo it off. So just having a decent amount of one mana plays that just literally get you another card, replace themselves, just helps you get through the deck quicker. And these are just some generic ones that I found are pretty good. Um, in the
They
in the
could be
effect.
just cantrips, or they could be replaceable for something other card that you prefer.
Yeah.
If the meta like requires a different kind of one drop or a different kind of hate card, you can replace it for those kind of cards. But like these are generally like really good like
Pretty much
blue
any blue
cards that you
card
can
that
use.
costs one that just gets into another card is fine. You can even play the ones that come with the deck that are also like one drops that are mana sinks that can be attackers. Those are perfectly fine too. I didn't find them particularly strong. I mostly just wanted to just get through my deck and combo those cards off, or I didn't really care to pay one to make my one drop be a relevant attacker. Didn't really interest me too much. But yeah, those are just there for that reason.
Yeah, I agree with these cards because since you don't draw with the leader, you want to see the cards that you want to see, and you want to see them relatively like soon. So these cards help you dig for those cards, which are the most important for the deck.
Yeah, and notably, the Zeno button effect doesn't let you activate counters from hand, so you can pretty. I mean, I think it's pretty safe to forego Dimension Magic in this deck. I think there's gonna be like very few situations where you even want the card, but because you already untap so much energy as is, and you already have so much energy manipulation as is, so I think UI Kamehameha does its best like negate impression, right? If your opponent tries to
Hmm.
out combo you, it's just really hard to out combo that card, in multiples
Absolutely.
especially.
And
Uh,
it's also good offensively. It's not like, oh, I'm going for game, I have a negate. No, this one is I'm going for game. This one is gonna help me close it.
exactly.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I think I agree with that as well because just because of the fact that like you want to go to your combo step to get interactions anyways. I mean, it's kind of like Mecha Frieza. You most of the time if you know there's a lot of attacks coming, then of course you're throwing out the Flying Nimbus, but you want to get to your combo step. You want interactions so that you can be able to combo your guys in and make some plays with them. So I think the lack of defense through negates I think is pretty fair. Especially considering, I mean, if you really absolutely need a negate, like that Majin Buu Unison is going to be able to put in the most defense you absolutely need when it comes to
Hmm.
stopping attacks. I mean, the blocker, the neg one, the bounce, like you've got the ability to stop 3 attacks just in that one card alone, anyways. So once that's
Yeah,
established, like if you
absolutely.
absolutely need the outs to like stop an attack, then you'll have them regardless.
yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
absolutely.
That's kind of my notion on the deck as well. It does also have a negate, which is this Bujin. I cut it down to 2, but it's very possible you're supposed to place at 4 since you can activate it from the energy. It's a negate that you can actually play after you Zeno button. I think it's very reasonable to cut the 3-drop Bujin for 4 of the 1-drop Bujin. Just because like once again it's a one mana play, so like let's say in the early game you don't want to take like a critical hit, you can use it, rest the energy, and then use that energy to combo with. So you're getting that value from using that energy, and you're getting a negate and a body. So it's kind of like pretty good in that aspect. So there's a lot of different changes that you could possibly make. But yeah, this is if there was a negate to be played in this deck, it's definitely the one that you can use from the energy. Just makes a lot of sense for this leader. You just have to pitch a card to do it, which is fine. It just turns any card in your hand into a negate.
Yeah, and then
Um,
Sensowing, which this is one of the best decks that we're gonna find right now lately that can utilize Sensowing, since there's a lot of like pay 1 mana, pay 3 mana combo with these cards, and using a Sensowing just allows you to extend those kind of plays. So at the same time that you're like defending because you're a plus 5K leader now, so it's a really good card at 4.
Yeah, I think so. I think also Sensu Bean's just gonna get better because you're gonna have a lot of decks like King Piccolo, a lot of decks that like Meki Kabura, like a lot of these decks are going wide with a lot of small creatures. So being able to get that Sensu Bean effect is just gonna be really nice. King Vegeta is another one that does that. So I think it's just gonna
Right.
have its its moment
Just
there.
play in the format, yeah.
Yeah. For the super combo, Zeno's probably the one that synergizes most with the leader. But there are some times where your opponent really stalls you out. So having the other sparking one just to kind of dig through your deck or defend like a critical attack that you may not want to take, I think is pretty good, especially since you're not using your drop area. It's very possible that you're supposed to play 4 Zeno because it's a one drop and you draw a card and you can cycle it and then combo it off immediately. And then if you're under pressure, if it's one of those games, then you can use it to manipulate your energy. There's definitely a lot of ways. It could be 4 of the Sparking super combo. You do get Sparking pretty quickly with this deck, I would say, with all the comboing that you do, and bringing stuff into play. Then your opponent kills it, so on. So the
And
play pattern,
cycling, yeah.
yeah, and just cycling is good. So we'll have to see what the best super combo is for this deck. I think that's actually like not obvious. Um,
I mean, for what I understand, there's going to be a lot of removal in the format. So playing the Xeno is not going to be the most like amazing thing. So I like the 2-2 split too,
Yeah.
yeah,
because you do want to have the on top effect. Because if God forbid you charge your secret out of one of the effects, you have to pick it up with the super combo.
mhm.
Uh, but still, I don't know if it's full for Xeno or like a split between 2 and 2.
Yeah. Also being able to pick up like Galactic Buster or being able to pick up your Unison if you hit it off the leader effect. Those are all things that are rewarding for playing Xeno. But it does, you have to be at 5 or less life. So it's not like you
Yeah.
always get to use it. And, you also it kind of plays against the deck. You don't always want to be you don't always want to be taking damage with this deck. Like you want to defend
Mhm.
aggressively because that's what your leader does. Like you want to be like defending their leader swing most of the time, taking their other hits
Yeah, yeah.
to keep,
Forcing them into a situation where they have to keep attacking you and
mhm,
keep running into your combo step.
yeah. So it's definitely interesting. It's gonna be something that we'll have to figure out, and it's gonna be a lot of meta dependent. Maybe even what decides the super combo. If it's very aggressive, then I could definitely see Zeno being like a 4 of, because if you're getting all those resources to hand and you don't need to like have a super combo that's active otherwise, then it'll probably be fine. But if it's or even the Vegeta when you're at 4 or less life. But if it's a slower meta, then I think the Boo will probably, I mean, the Gotenks, the sparking one will be more effective.
Usable, yeah.
So Figs, this
Uh,
is the promo here. Tell me what you
Yeah,
think
it's
about
probably
this one.
this
I'm
is
not sure
probably
if you've
the
gotten a
reason
chance
why
to
the
take
deck
a look
is
at
not
it.
gonna be. Yeah, this is probably the reason why the deck is not gonna be that like budget friendly because of this card. Because you are absolutely need this card as a 4 of. So
That's Bojack Rampaging Agent of Destruction.
so permanent, when this card is in rest mode, your opponent's battle cards with energy costs greater than or equal to their current energy can't attack leader cards. That's pretty solid. Then it's got an auto pay 1 if your leader card is a Bojack Brigade card or has Agent of Destruction in its card name. At the end of the battle, in which this card's used, combo from your hand or energy, you may play this card in rest mode, and when it dies, you draw a card. That's pretty solid. I mean, if you're looking at this card, I mean, you're obviously just pretty much putting it into play for 1, getting the ability to pretty much stop attacks from hitting your leader, forcing them to have to swing over a 15k, which obviously can be defended with the other combo playable cards in the deck as well. So it pretty much just literally stops all aggro to your leader and forces your opponent to have to go after your Bojack,
Yeah,
exactly.
which is pretty solid.
yeah. I think it like
Uh,
it puts a very stally card. It's not gonna be like the end all be all defensive card. You're not gonna like defend this thing forever, but it's just gonna like eat attacks and draw you cards and like stall, and that's I think a good thing for you.
No,
As a player.
yeah.
I think that's solid. I mean, against the decks that put out early aggro, especially with ones that have high energy costs, like it forces them to have to go after that card. And generally, obviously, if they have a higher energy cost, they normally are probably bigger than 15.
Hmm.
I mean, regardless, I mean, any swing that's taken away from your leader that goes to this is going to net you a card. So you're getting a card off the draw, being able to replace him, and basically buys you more time to set up your unison or buys you more time to get the higher energy. So that way you can utilize some of your boss cards or put into play the ones that have higher energy cost to put into play. But I like it. I mean, anything that pretty much says your opponent can't do something because they have to have a card that's equal to their energy normally means like it's going to be a pretty good card.
I
Not
agree.
not only that, like I think it just comes into this game of like chicken with your opponent, where they have
Yeah,
to combo a little bit higher, or if they want to kill this guy, and if they don't combo enough, then you out combo it, and there's still a problem in the field. And then if they combo too much, then you just let it die, and then you draw a card. So then it's just a really solid card because of that effect.
oh yeah, it's a huge bait. I mean, because if you look at it again, it's 15K. If your opponent goes putting out a big guy and they know they can't swing at the leader with it, they're going to go after him. Even if it is, let's say it is, 20K the card that they're swinging. Let's say it's an ape or something. You have the ability to combo in multiple guys. You have the ability to combo in multiple guys, and then of course you're able to pretty much, either eliminate the threat that was on board, get multiple dudes on the board, just off that one combo step, and if they start burning cards out of their hand, those cards that they burn are not going to hit the board like yours are. I mean, at least if
Mhm.
you're comboing things, the things that you're comboing are going to end up coming into play. So, I mean, not only are they losing cards out of hand trying to get over that thing, but they're also going to have to deal now with an additional threat because, you've comboed and something else is now coming into play. So I like
Absolutely.
that. It's kind of like it's almost like having an awakened leader early. If you put it into play early enough, it's almost like them having to get over your 15K leader essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
obviously
Yeah,
aside from effects, but more or less the swinging.
And you could definitely,
absolutely.
you
Made
could
a
actually,
card.
you could just bring this guy out turn one. I think that was a play
Yeah,
pattern that I did a real like pretty decently. Like I would just be like, um, play this
Yeah, combo
guy.
this
Like I
guy
would
to play.
charge, like for example, I would charge Zangia, the evildoer, turn one. Pass turn to my opponent. They would attack. I would combo this from hand, pay the energy, and then do the effect with the leader and combo this one off that I is now rested. Draw the card, and now I have this guy in play. Turn one. Because you can combo it from
or
the hand, and he's also notably a 0-5K because I guess you can play him in other decks. Um, but yeah, you can combo all of these. That's also another important thing. You can combo all of these from hand, so your opponent can't see some of these things coming, right? You can
Hmm.
charge the ones that you want, like like this the one that's like the Zangia is usually the best one to charge because you just use the energy, then you combo her, cycle, draw a card, like you're very good with that. But like some of the other ones, like the Evildoer or the Gokua or Beto or all of these other ones that come into play and have like these negative effects for your opponent, like getting rid of stuff or this Bojack, or now they have to deal with it. They don't necessarily always see it coming, right? So it's nice that you can do these effects from hand as well. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, moving on, you got the two evildoers. These are unique, so you obviously don't want to play like probably max copies of these. I think the Bujin is okay. It came up in a few games against my opponents like Demigra, um, like 5 drop, where I was able to stun it. It's cool that you can play this on your turn or their turn, and it basically petrifies the card, so it can't attack or be used in a combo. Um, it can still activate skills, I guess, but like it's pretty good, right? You're just able to kind of be tricksy with it. Like if they have like a dual attacker, you can do this. It's just kind of interesting. It's a good card, and it's a blocker as
No,
well.
having blockers means that if they want to try to like stall you, like per se, they have a turn that they're setting up and they just want to attack your bull. Since you cannot use the battle step there, then having a blocker that you can use the battle step now, it's also usable.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I think it's good for the deck. We'll have to see how good it is. But it's definitely one of those tricksy cards that you can just run into, and it could just like be like, oh, well that ends my turn if I sequence wrong, if I played my battle cards out of order. It could definitely punish your opponent. So I think it's good in that sense. And then you have
Hmm.
Bidu, which is just a critical beater, which is nice. It kind of takes pressure away from your leader because they want to get rid of
hmm
this, else they're gonna keep losing cards. And he basically comes out for free because if it's your opponent's turn, you untap the energy that brings him out, which is pretty nice because you can use that to bring out another threat. And he has a mana sink to kind of like just get rid of your opponent's board, which is really nice against like a King Piccolo or King Vegeta strategy. You're just constantly getting rid of their battle cards just by paying one, not having to expend any cards into it. So I think he's pretty nice, and that activate main may come up a lot. That is an effect that I would want to pay an energy for, where I said
Oh yeah,
that
for sure.
I want to like pay an energy before I combo my cards. That's something I'll definitely want to be doing, and I have been doing
I mean
that.
that
You know.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, that card I think is actually going to be pretty relevant moving forward. I mean, especially against decks like Mecha Frieza. I mean, you stop their Chapels from staying on board. You stop their Basils if they're trying to set up for their Slug and they've got the one drop on the board. You're bouncing it to the bottom of the deck. So, I mean, yeah, it's going back in the deck. So with certain effects, I mean, it's relevant, but just having it off the board is far more important because we all know blue has no removal. I mean, outside of this deck, I mean, most blue decks they have like literally you're playing overarms
Yeah.
to have any type of control.
Well,
So
that's the nice thing about this deck. That's impressive and new, refreshing about this blue
right,
mono blue deck. That is just like there's a lot of removal actually in this in this
yeah,
in this
a lot.
particular deck.
But I
Yeah.
like
So
that
then,
it has that mana sync during your activate main. Like during your turn, I think that's great because it gives you more options of things to do with your energy. So you're not just charging, looking for something to do, and passing turn.
Yeah, I think
yeah.
that's nice. I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be definitely very meta relevant. Because a lot of these decks play to the board, a lot of these things come out for free and they're
Mhm.
cheap, and you just
Yep.
getting rid of them is just nice, especially when they have like really annoying effects. Zengia is just simple. Combo it off, draw a card. Works well with Galactic Buster, works well with the leader. There's not much to say. If there's a combo that's going to get played outside of Bojack, it's probably Galactic Buster plus her. And then you're basically like playing a 42 card deck because every time you see this combo, you're taking 2 cards out of your deck, right? So
Yeah.
every time you see a Galactic Buster, you charge a Zangia, right? Like it's kind of cool.
Hmm.
Maybe there's some like combo decks in the future that just kind of want to get to a combo, and this would be kind of nice for them. That isn't the
Oh,
case
okay.
nowadays,
Yeah.
but we'll see. Maybe. So you have Gokua. Really nice to get rid of like BMSs and stuff, because he doesn't get hit by the effective BMS, whereas like Beto will. And then he can just, when he comes into play, he gets rid of the BMS, and he's a 20k body, which is just solid. Paying 1 energy for a 20k body, just pretty good to me.
Absolutely, yeah, good. And try and remove it the hate cards. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
There's
absolutely
definitely a
worth
lot
it.
of relevant like one cost hate cards like um you don't do too much countering, but like you can get rid of the I think the one that makes you untap energy can be annoying for your
Yeah.
sensu beans, like that black Vegeta or something. There's definitely enough
Hmm.
hate cards in the format or just flying around, especially BMS just being like the biggest one, and enough one drops that this will be come up handy. And you have
Absolutely, yeah.
Bojack. So yeah, Jonathan, tell us about this guy.
All right, so we have the four mana guy, which is absolutely amazing. This one is the one that when for 2 mana, in the combo step, you pay 2 mana and you play it from the after you combo, and then you remove one card from the battlefield. So I get just removal for 2 mana, amazing, and it's dual attack. Also, on top of that, it's one of the targets that you can use to evolve the bigger one, which is the next one to the next side.
Hmm.
But this card is just really solid. Like for 2 mana, just bringing a dual attacker 20k. Yes, in your opponent's turn, my turn, it doesn't matter. You're just removing something and you put in a dual attacker pressure for 20k. That card is just really good. There's
Yeah,
no other.
I agree. What are your thoughts on this guy, Figs? The kind of like the boss monster of the deck.
I think it's great. I mean, honestly, again, the fact that it costs 2 is pretty insane to get a dual attack 20k out.
Oh, okay.
You
No, I
know,
was talking about the 8 drop. The 8 drop.
oh, the A drop.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
no, yeah, the A drop is solid as well too. I mean, honestly, having multiple applications to put them into play, I think is great. Because I mean, obviously, having only one line of play in order to play a card means that your opponent can normally find it out. So the fact that you'd have the EX evolve, and if they see the 4 drop on the board, they might try to out it or the 3 drop.
Hmm.
So having the ability to still be able to put it into play by being able to combo it and then obviously putting it into play for 4 energy, I think is great. Because there's not many boss cards where we see like multiple ways of being able to bring them out. Usually the EX evolves or the EX evolutions are usually the ones that are trickiest because you have to keep cards on the board.
Yeah.
And unless it has barrier or deflect, it's usually pretty difficult to keep the cards on the board to get it off. Um, so I think this card is great. Honestly, this card is actually pretty strong.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's kind
one
of.
of the main things.
Hmm.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that one of the cool things is that it comes with removal. It cycles. The one notable thing, and I think it's why they have the EX evolve ability, is because if you combo it into play, he always comes in rest mode.
Right.
Which is fine because you want to be doing that on your opponent's turn. But it is kind of nice to like untap with 5 energy, evolve over a Bojack, untap the energy with the Boo, activate the leader effect, untap 4 energy, put another one of these guys into play. If you have one in the energy, right? You combo it, pay the 4. And then now, if they ever attack when they attack with a battle card, you're just untapping energy, right? Because they switch, you untap your energy and rest one of your opponent's energy. So it's just gonna be a
Yeah,
really difficult situation for your opponent to get out of. You can play like 2 of these across, your turn 5, and their turn. So that's kind of
and
nice.
that's one of the main things, that since it doesn't have unique, and you're untapping for energy always with the leader,
Yep.
and you're gonna be able to spam these guys like fairly easily, and they're just gonna end the game. Like your
Yeah.
opponent's not gonna be able to attack. Your opponent has to deal with a dual attacker, double strike, 30k. So that's just like a lot of value just in that sentence right there.
Also, I think one thing that's notable is that it is also a 10k combo. So it's really great for being able to stall out on your opponent's turn. A lot of times when you're playing at someone, they go weaker cards into bigger cards for swings. And I like the fact that it's 10k because, as you start getting to the later swings, if they realize they're not being able to deal the damage they want to, or they're not able to press you as hard as they want to, they'll stop comboing or they'll start going after your battle cards. So having 10k means that you're not having to push out a lot of cards to defend something, but you're able to get that 10k combo and then put them into play. So you're able to defend whatever you need to do, whether it's life or a battle card, and then you're getting this 30k dual attack double strike that's just gonna, slap your opponent around.
Yeah, it is nice to get that
Exactly. Yeah.
extra combo on the defense or offense
Yep.
to push for game,
Yeah.
which is really nice.
Um,
And
And
then
then
finally
baby, because
hatch.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean deck cycles pretty well, so I think it gets to it. I think that's a big staple of blue decks is obviously the secret rare, but I think the good blue decks are the ones that are good at getting to the secret rare, right? Because I
Right.
think if you're able to play this guy, I think like the cornerstone of a good blue deck, because it is a little bit weaker in terms of like playing stuff for free and like doing all of these other powerful things that other colors are. Defensively, it doesn't have as great of a floodgate. Like the Gohan, or I'm sorry, the heroic prospect doesn't really work well in this deck in general because of the leader
Oh, definitely
effect,
not.
and you have to wait till turn 4, so it doesn't make much sense. But I think a good cornerstone of blue decks is how fast you can get to your secret rare. So that's why I like cards like Intersecting Fates, Galactic Buster, and just like the super combo, the Sparking one, the Zangia. All of these cards just cycling you towards it, I think is really, really good. Because if you see this card like 75% of your games, if you're able to resolve this, that just improves your win rate so much with blue.
Yep.
So I think that's a big
Mhm.
deal.
Mind you, if the price tag on this card is too high, there are definitely other options. Since this leader on top sport energy, you can easily play a seeker that just pays 4 mana, 5 mana for it,
Yeah,
and
that's
you can
true.
easily play one of those leaders.
Yeah, like
And
the
similarly,
Pycon.
Yeah.
exactly,
You
yeah.
could definitely play
Yeah.
another one, more of a game meta. I would lean towards a defensive secret rare if you can like do the Kai or even the lineage one is fine. Just something to help you with the defense. I do think that once you turn the corner, you already have your boss monster you want to be paying 4 energy for, so I don't think you need another one.
Right.
But yeah, this is I think it's gonna be a solid contender. What do you guys think?
Yeah,
I think it will
absolutely.
be too. I also think especially with the SER, I think that's actually probably going to be the better one as well because of the fact that like you don't usually just off rip unless the first swing is detrimental. You usually don't off rip just play the hat check. You force your opponent to use some mana. You force your opponent to combo some cards. You force
Of
them to do
course,
some
yeah.
things before you just drop it. So like even if you put down your boss card, you pay your 4 energy, you put down your boss card, and they're like, all right, let's try to kill it, or let's try to put down pressure, then you're just like, all right, well, I got my boss card on the board. Here's another 40k coming at you for next turn. And I
Yeah,
think that compared to anything else is going to be a huge, huge, game changer because, at that point, if they're ending their turn and they can't swing anymore and they've already committed their energy to, battle cards thinking they're going to go in, then they're pretty much dead next turn. Like they're
Yeah.
pretty much
absolutely.
dead.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely want to save this guy. I've said it multiple times. Like, the later you play Baby Hatch, the better he becomes, right?
Oh
Yep.
yeah,
There's
absolutely.
just, unless it's like some type of control mirror where you may want to like, oh, he's gonna have a big turn. I just don't want to take damage. I have no chance of killing him.
Right.
The following turn, I think it's just like against almost every deck, you're just like waiting till the last moment, like 1 HP, 1 life left or whatever, like
Yep.
2 card, like this is
Yeah,
my last thing. And because it just turns the corner, like it baits them into trying to kill you when they have no chance, right? So that's kind of cool that way.
Exactly. Yep.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's our kind of deck overview of Mono Blue Bojack. We'll be bringing you a few more regarding the new set coming up. And thank you guys. This is Universe Z checking out.